On this moody afternoon, welcome to the Ultra Digest Media. We are live here at the Freedom Square with another segment, and we shall be digesting matters concerning the speakership race in MUCHYO University and then the education system in Uganda. My name is Kelvin Mugabi, and today on set, I'm having two guests who will be taking us through the different diversions that we have been experiencing in this country, Uganda. I'll allow them then to introduce themselves to the viewers, just as it's the norm in Uganda and Africa as a whole. So, Mister, can you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yes, a good afternoon to everyone that is viewing us. Thank you for always tuning into the Ultra Digest Media. My name is Kaburam Zafal, Projects Coordinator, School of Languages, Literature and Communication.
In terms of incumbency, I'm the Vice President, School of Literature, Languages and Communication. I'm ruling the roast, and on my extreme left, Mister. Introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. I want to introduce myself with honorary titles. I'm a journalist student at MUCHYO University, year 1, and I'm glad to be in the midst of such panelists and the moderator of this Ultra Digest program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses, a journalist at MUCHYO University, first year. Today, tentatively, we shall be talking about the speakership race. Remember, a speaker commands the house. So, we shall be digesting about the speakership race tentatively. We shall begin with our guest today, Mr. Moses. What do you make of this speakership race? Are you satisfied with the results that came out of the race? Do you see lights at the end of this cabinet?
Thank you very much, Moderator Kelvin. In regards to the just concluded speakership race, just like any other political race, we all have as voters anticipations and hopes in our candidates. And till when we see them in action, that's when we can fully testify and say that indeed they are really doing the work they really hoped or promised us to do. So I would like to say I'm optimistic. We got to engage one-on-one with some of the speakers that were in the race, and they promised us a lot, like any other politician does. And we just pray and hope that these are not just promised fallacies at the end of the day, and these are just fulfilled commitments that have been made. So specifically at my College of Humanities and Social Sciences, we concluded our speakership races, and we hope to see them fully conduct their work as speakers. As the Constitution of MUCHYO fully aligns and allocates the duties of the speaker, we believe they have to work accordingly to what their constitution stipulates and gives them to do as the mandate of the speaker. However, in Africa and in Uganda at large, we believe that always responsibilities never end in an African society. You find yourself going beyond your obligations as per the constitution, which aligns your responsibilities. So we hope to see them fully commit to their duties and represent the students as speakers and air out the opinions. We have quite a number of these grievances that we are facing at a college level and also as the MUCHYO students at large. Things of functional fees, the 15% tuition that is paid, and quite many others, but these are the major things that have been withheld for quite a long time, and we quite see a lot of optimism, and we hope that our speakers use their positions in power and their voices, because they are extraordinary to us, the students. They have the opportunity to go out and add these opportunities. So if we have presented over our issues of the 15% tuition, of the functional fees that at times we do not see it aligning to the role and the responsibility it's supposed to do, we expect such major key aspects that do not only pay me as a chief student, but also paying other students of the different colleges. So these are the key issues that we expect them to represent in the GRC or in the Guild Representative Council, and also represent to the executive and also go to the Board of Governors at the MUCHYO institution. Besides that, that's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. I love the elucidation. Giving you a precursor alteration about this, the speaker right now of the Guild Cabinet, the speaker is Mr. MUCHYO GATUYA, who has a slogan of "We are MUCHYO." He beat NSSAWA Waiswa, who was the first runners-up in this race. So, Mr. Mzafal, what do you make of this speakership race? Do we say we are going to see light at the end of the tunnel in this aspect?
Thanks, moderator, for such a topic. I personally, when it comes to the speaker race, it's something I've been looking at for quite a long period of time, ever since the guild races. were in the due process of the guild races, you could see the speakers, they were moving around with their logistics, supplying them to these GRCs. And there is something I've been observing, because the work part of it, their duties that they're supposed to do, Moses, my comrade, has explained more about it, but I will look more into the mode of campaigns, how these people try to reach these GRCs. You know, when now you're campaigning for these posts of the speakership race, you're not trying to please each and everyone that is around Makere. You're campaigning in a people who are going to sit in a guild council, which is very difficult, because this is a small group of people who are leading the larger community, but then you have to prove to them that you are competent enough for that post. And these are people who have put in a lot. I may like to applaud Comrade NSSAWA. He put in a lot to see to it that he gets the position, but maybe he missed somehow, somewhere in the strategies. But then that is how things came out, and GATUYA is now the speaker. I applaud him also, and the other opponent who was still in the race. But at the end of the day, these people are in those positions to serve. You're there to serve and question each and everything that is going on in the Guild Council. And we are watching you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just like we said, it's going to be a tentative topic, but we have the big topic today on the big debate. Thank you very much. Just giving you a little gist about it. The speaker is right now in NSSAWA. The speaker is GATUYA MUCHYO. So take it in mind. He's going to command the speaker chambers of this 87th Guild cabinet. So thank you very much, and we shall be shifting to the big topic of the day. Mr. Moses, you've seen what is moving around in the world. It is the first time that the world has been declared with a pandemic, and this is COVID-19 that sprouted out in April last year. So we are being faced with the third wave of Omicron, and we have registered cases in Uganda as well. So I just want you to give us something about how has COVID impacted the education system in Uganda. Remember, Ugandan schools have been closed or put on hold for almost a year, if not 1.5 years. So what do you make of this situation? What has been the impact of COVID-19 on the education system in the country?
Thank you very much, moderator, once again. First of all, I'd like to convey my sincerity to the people that have lost their loved ones during these tough times of the COVID-19. It's really quite unfortunate. This was unprecedented. No one was fully prepared for such a circumstance. But as we say, we have to adapt. When a new norm comes in, we do not lament and cry about it. We forge ways forward so as to move on better and stronger. So as per the education system, we highly have to commend that the education system, not only in Uganda but worldwide, it's one of the most important sectors in the world in terms of grooming and producing quality students, and also enlarging in terms of knowledge and how perspectives are aired out at the end of the day. But we see that currently in Uganda, we were ranked #1 of the country that has locked their institutions of study for the longest of times.
Yeah.
And that's really quite unfortunate, and it's really absurd at the end of the day, but still we have nothing to do. We remain optimistic and wait to see what's going to be done after January 10th. So COVID-19 has not left us the same, more so the learning institutions, whereby we see that a lot of things have changed from the upper hand of the institutions. First of all, let's try to look at when the Ministry of Education and the President himself decided to say that they are going to supply or deliver radios to different areas in Uganda. And they also got a company that was going to start manufacturing the process of these radios. And a lot of money was aligned or allocated to the manufacturing of these radios. However, where was that now?
Let's first put it as that. Were the radios supplied?
They were not supplied.
Let's go.
And the manufacturing process ceased to happen. It never happened at all. So that money, we say, was now put aside, and that's when we see that the education system has now fully been affected, because now information to be dispersed to students so as at least they can keep at par with the education process has been denied. The only way forward that would focus on the televisions, not many in Uganda use television. The biggest percentage of people in Uganda focus on radios. So if the radio programming or supplying failed, so how will information be put across to the different audiences in the country? And then we also see schools have been closed. Some permanently, some are going to maybe function maybe when later schools are open. Others have ceased and decided to make their school premises lodges or poultry farms. So we see that if these schools are going to close permanently, look at an instance in northern Uganda where there are 201 schools that are teaching students and the school has ceased to continue with its services. If schools open, how many students are still going to acquire the need of education? How many? If one school that they have been depending on has been closed, they are not. So those are the dropout rates that are going to continue increasing. Yet the government has, with time and again, tried to fight the dropout rates. But if schools have ceased to open and have closed totally, so this is also going to affect us. We are also seeing that teachers have decided to venture into new job opportunities. A teacher has said that, okay, this has come, we've been closed for nearly 2 years or 1.5 years. So I'm no longer bringing in money and I need to sustain my family. And how am I going to sustain my family? Money does not come by itself. It does not come by miracles. It comes by me hustling and grinding. That is why we see teachers have decided to go into bricklaying. You find at Seroma just recently, when the year was beginning, the Seroma teachers all adjusted to bricklaying. They had their committee and they're already in bricklaying. Other teachers have decided to venture into hair painting. Others selling clothes. Why? Because the system has put them on the wall. The government has not perverted ways to make sure that these teachers have some hope. And making it worse is when they say that all teachers should be vaccinated. Look at an instance where a female teacher is pregnant, and pregnant ladies are not supposed to get the dose of the vaccine at a certain stage of their pregnancy. So look at it at that aspect. So if they do not get the vaccine and they need to go and teach, they're going to be denied. You get? So hopefully she has to first give birth. After giving birth, she goes and gets her first jab of the COVID vaccine. That's after how long? Meaning also their opportunities or their job vacancies in that place are no longer assured. It's filled with uncertainty. They do not know whether indeed they still have the jobs to maintain in these institutions, because also institutions of study are trying to put a hard rock onto the teachers to make sure that they also try to reach to the coordinates of what the government is also trying to tell them. So such inconsistencies, such irregularities, and schools closing because of debts. Most of the schools and the private schools have been formed on loans. And you're not going to tell a bank that COVID came in. Also, banks have been affected. No one prepared for such a situation. You get? No one prepared for such a situation. So they also do not, they look at it in a profit gain. These are banks. When you sign a contract, you live to your contract. You do not adjourn according to the times that have come up. You continue moving forward. So schools have ceased to be in existence because banks cannot quite coordinate with them and quite relay with them. But they're like, okay, if you're not going to pay, please, let's take over your property. Till when you fully pay your debt, that's when maybe we can give you an ultimatum and we continue with your terms of study. So schools have ceased to open, and the government up to now has not yet allocated at least money that is going to help in paying such loans. Money has been allocated to things that we do not know. The supplementary budget, which was literally in trillions, 1.8 trillion, 96% was allocated to cars. Can you imagine?
Buying cars.
To buying cars. The supplementary. If it's a supplementary and it's literally in trillions of Ugandan shillings, teachers have been crying, institutions of studies have been crying. Why can't we try to convey with them these are important organs in the country? But we have decided to contribute literally a big chunk of money on the 1.8 supplementary trillions of money to just buying cars of advisors of the president. Yet they already have cars. So we try to see that the government as well has not tried to convey to convey the importance of the education system. Because if it's really important and you say it brings up good citizens, it grooms citizens to be better, And with such actions, even in the budget that was aligned, you try to put it on the end, on the lower end, and money is allocated to institutions where corruption is best, where money cannot even be accounted for. Yet teachers are crying day in and day out. So our government has also not really tried to align and convey its sincerity in the sense of trying to keep these institutions going on. However, COVID came. We are trying to work around with that, but we are glad that some banks have come in and have tried to convey or give loans to institutions of study in the other parts of Uganda, the northern areas, the western areas. So if private institutions can come out and give loans to institutions of study, which responsibility is supposed to be held by the government? Where does it put our government?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moses. I don't know whether it is a border analysis talk, or whether it is a loose talk, or it is just hearsay. I hear that the man who was hawking Nsenene on the Uganda air bombardier was a teacher. Is it right? It is not your question. Okay, Mr. Mzafal, what do you make of this? How has COVID impacted the education system in the country in 2 minutes?
Comrade, Moses has said, I said it all about the impact of COVID-19 on the education system. But he was talking about, I heard something funny when he was talking about how we solicited money to aid in the COVID-19 situation, and that money was used to buy cars, of which the cars which were bought, the government still requested for a supplementary budget to clear taxes for those cars. Now just imagine, was buying cars really necessary? So as we go on with the impact of COVID-19 on the education system, you also know when COVID-19 hit us, our president Yoweri Kaguta Museveni closed the schools, which was necessary. But then after closing the schools, then what do you put in place to see to it that we adopt to the new system? You see, this is the adoption that we need. When you look at other countries, the foreign countries, these are countries which have adopted. Whenever you try to refer to other countries, when you're liaising issues about the education system and all the other systems in this country, people say, why are you comparing? Why are you comparing? But this is how we adopt to systems. Because if you can't think of a system that is gonna get you out of the situation where you are, then you have to copy. You have to look at what other countries are doing. Okay, if you're still focusing on the traditional approach of politics, then you have to focus on the modern approach of politics. If at all you can't adopt, look at other countries, compare and contrast. Now this is what we are looking at. We have seen all the impacts, as Comrade has said, but then what are we putting in place to see to it that we adopt the new normal of the education system?
At that very instance, most of the countries that we are surrounded with, talk of Kenya, talk of TZ, most of these countries have opened, but Uganda remains on hold. And when you try to ask the ministers, trust the people who are affiliated to this, people who should give us answers, then it's like now we are flogging cold fish. It is wanting, it is worrying, it is horrible in this country, Uganda of ours. So let's go on with our debate today. So Moses, in your own perspective and prison, what do you make of the fate of teachers? Because you say teachers are everywhere looking for jobs, teachers are brick making, teachers are doing nasty things that they could have not done because they have the brainchilds of knowledge in Uganda here. So what is the fate of teachers, especially
are the things nasty? Are they nasty?
The things are not nasty. It's trying to get a livelihood at the end of the day of these hard times. So the fate of the teachers, it's quite really unfortunate. It's alarming. We are just seated and hoping and praying, because as we see that the opening of institutions, of learning institutions, the primary and the secondary schools is underway on the 10th, come the 10th, we still see there are hard measures that are being put. And you feel like a teacher, maybe I should just remain in this business that I decided to form as a personal individual. We are seeing that now primary teachers are supposed to go back and earn a degree in study. So that is now something that has been passed. A primary teacher has to go back. So imagine that the person already knew that might have my job there, and the government is trying to pass a law where they have to go and attain a degree, and this person has a diploma, they are not willing to go and attain this degree, maybe they're going to be like, I think this opportunity has ceased, and maybe it's time for me to venture into something new. So this kind of hard-headedness that is really being put over by the government, and also failure of trying to allocate money so as to save the learning institutions, is also going to be an alarming situation, because we still need money for these institutions to be saved and for them to run. But if they're not saved and they're closed, teachers have lost their job opportunities in the learning institutions. So also their jobs there are no more. And also in regards to the vaccination, yes, it's something that is really wanted for the security and for the health of the teachers as well as the students and the staff members who work around the learning institutions or the schools. But if you're saying that you are not going to allow a teacher to operate in a school until they have their first jab, for you to get a COVID vaccine, a first jab, we look at health conditions of people. If people are sick and they have their health issues and they cannot get a COVID jab, and they have vehemently showed you that, okay, for sure, my health complications do not allow me to get a COVID jab, but the government still insists and says all teachers must get a first COVID jab at least
before they open.
And they already gave us the statistics of how many have so far got the jab of COVID. But still not many were alluding or applauding this kind of thing because of many complications health-wise, and the pregnant mothers as well. So if this is something that is really being put at the forefront, then also teachers are going to still see, they're going to be like, okay, you know, I cannot handle this kind of pressure anymore. I cannot, if my health is being put at risk by the government and they cannot look at that perspective, and their only interest is of me vaccinating, and they do not look at my health perspective as an individual, then I cannot go on anymore, and they'll cease also. So me, I'm not looking at it, I'm not going to sugarcoat that it's going to be an amazing experience. No,
it's not.
It's not going to be an amazing experience, because most of the teachers do not allude to the prevailing laws that are being put onto them.
Are they obnoxious then?
Yes, they're obnoxious.
Thank you for that take also. I hear every time you talk about the new normal, the new normal, the new normal. In your own way, in your own prison then, how have the teachers made it through this COVID-19
period? Like Moses said, teachers have now looked for new ways of getting of collecting money, of surviving. They have looked for new ways of surviving. Teachers are now have now occupied other occupations like bricklaying, like vending shoes. I have a teacher, I have a history teacher. He taught me European history 2019 at Brilliant High School. He's very good at European history, but he's vending shoes. He's vending shoes at Chisenyi. I found someone recorded for me a video of him besides the road. Now teachers have looked for new ways of getting money, and this is going to be the new normal. This is where you shift from the profession that you know to also get a side hustle. Now teachers now have to adopt, and this is not going to just cease to exist. That when the new normal comes back, they are going to go back to teaching, and they did, but they leave this.
At that same instance, my teacher today, I was moving around, my teacher is operating a sewing machine. So it is very worrying if schools are not open anytime from now, things are not at ease.
Of which it is not bad. It is not bad for a teacher to be making bricks. It's not bad for them to be having a sewing machine.
You know what it calls for to have a degree. You know what it calls for to have a degree. These people struggle.
Exactly. So true, they do struggle.
Yes.
So they do struggle.
Yes.
But then we have to look at it at a bigger picture. Even the people who are already in a field, you know, now this is where unemployment goes on its highest peak, because these are people who have been having jobs.
Yes.
The teachers were teaching, and there were some people who are in the brick sector. During my vacation, I happened to make some small investments in bricklaying. But this time we had no market. Simply because there were many teachers, there were many people who are now making bricks, and now the price of bricks decreased. We were not getting money. I had to withdraw. So there are forces which are coming in the employment sector. If at all you have a business and you're not serious about it, you have to think about your construction of the business, because more people are coming from their occupations and they are occupying the same businesses that you're doing. So ask yourself, what new thing do you have in your business that is going to make you sustain it
and
in
with
the market?
the creativity of teachers they have, they can venture into
They are creative people who can easily adopt to any system.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mzafal. So, Moses, in the first instance, you talked about, it was a precursor then, you talked about the impacts of COVID-19 on the education system in Uganda. So, giving us a general picture, you paint out a picture for us, then give us the challenges that have been faced by this education system. Because you were talking about the impacts, how has COVID-19 impacted us? Now, talk about the challenges that the education system in Uganda are facing. Is facing, yes.
Yes, as we all have to accept is that before COVID-19 came, our education sector still faced a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, and quite unfortunate that even COVID-19 is maybe making it worse from how it was then and how it is then and how it is now. First of all, the teacher absenteeism. I was talking with my colleague today about the teacher absenteeism in schools. It's quite alarming. According to the statistics that were showed by the UNHCR, a report that was made about our education system in Uganda, we see that 60% of the teachers in half of the Ugandan schools are absent from class.
Imagine.
60%. We have not said 30, we have not said 20, but 60% of the teachers in half of the learning institutions in Uganda are absent from their classes.
In the rural areas or even in
urban.
Uganda? Even in urban.
Absenteeism is something that has been alarming. And if teachers are absent, who is going to be the fountain of knowledge? Because we are all students, we've all come to learn. We are in secondary or we are in primary. I'm not going to stand up and say, please, where the teacher stopped, let me commence from there. We have to wait, because the teacher is the one that gives us a foundation of what we are going to study, and we continue laying on that through the different readings that we make as individual students on our own. So the absenteeism is quite alarming. It's really absurd that parents go on and pay their school fees to make sure that their children are attended to by teachers, but these alarming statistics of teacher absenteeism is quite absurd, because that's when we see in failure rates coming in, and they blame it upon students, that students tebabi kwata, tebabi tegera, but also the teachers have failed to allude this blame onto themselves, to allude that, okay, we are also quite absent at times, because they cannot, at the end of the day, you cannot allude blame onto yourself. So absenteeism has really been absurd. And then also, children with disabilities are largely excluded from formal schooling. We see that we concluded the Day of the Disabled, and they gave quite a statistic, but the president gave quite a big statistic of how many disabled people that we have in our country, Uganda. And it's not just hundreds of thousands of people, but it's millions of people that are disabled. And these people need to be attended to. These people need to be in a system that favors them. However, how many educational institutions have programs that favor these students? If a person is maybe blind or something like that, you're going to find that they're still undergoing the same formal program that a person that can see or can hear is undergoing. Until when it's reaching UNEB, that's when the teachers or the headmistresses and headmasters begin, okay, let's get for this person this kind of thing. That's when they remember that they had disabled students.
So in a political language, they don't have the resources and the logistics.
Exactly, they do not have the resources to cater for the disabled.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mzafal, in your own way, in your own thinking, then, what should be done then in order to see that what Mr. Moses has been said is being addressed in the country? What is the way forward then in this aspect, if we are singing a swan song on this debate?
The way forward for the education system is something we cannot discuss in this short period of time. But at least we can point out, we can cherry pick some of the factors that we can look at when we are looking at jump-starting the education system. You see, this is the same thing that we had when the private hospitals were hiking up their prices. The private hospitals were saying, If at all we hold 75% to 85% of the health sectors and the government holds 25%, why can't you come to us? We sit on a round table and we discuss on how you have to reduce on the taxes so that we get these things at a cheaper cost. Now this is what has to happen right now.
Was it all about
private
COVID testing?
sectors? Yes.
Was it all about COVID testing?
No, that was about the prices of the treatment of COVID-19. But now I'm trying to build up this. Now this is where the government has to come in and sit on a round table with these private sectors. I won't say they are not sitting. They are sitting, but at least I'm not hiding. There has always been negotiations, and these negotiations are only stop at talks.
Fruitless.
They are fruitless. They are no actions. They don't walk the talk. But we need you to walk the talk. Sit down with the private sector and liaise to see how you're going to put harmony to the system. Otherwise, this business of just talking about things, introducing abrupt projects like introducing a new curriculum. How do you even start introducing a new curriculum without having the teachers who are going to put it in place?
Someone is like, this is a baptism on fire.
Yes, so if you're introducing something new, try to realize with the system at large. We have all known, I myself have studied from a government school. We know the reluctance that is in the government schools. These are schools that are in place simply because of my own responsibility. I pay taxes. Those government schools are there because of me, because of you, because of you. Me being a Ugandan, I pay taxes. But now I'm seeing a lot of wastage. With our resources, this is money we pay. Please, the people who are in charge of the education system, stop playing around with our money. If at all you decided to give us free education in the government schools, give us free education and give us free education. Don't play around with our money.
In this discussion, we have set the ball rolling for the government. People, those who are concerned, listen to our voices. We are the real strugglers of this nation. Mr. Moses, in 2 minutes, can you finalize this up? What is the way forward then? Especially if you are the Minister of Education now. The Janet Kataham 7 of the day.
It has been an honor indeed to be on such a hot topic discussion. So we've discussed all the challenges brought by COVID and the challenges before COVID, and there is always a way forward to improve the system. And as he has spoken, UPE schools were created 1997. They were started in regards to help to provide a free education for those that could,
the common Ugandans.
to the common Ugandans.
The vulnerable.
But what is the quality of teaching at these UPE schools? Yes, they teach, but we need, because if money is allocated to these institutions, a lot of money is allocated, let the quality be at high bar, let it be at top notch. Let us hear that a person from a UPE school has undergone that system of study and their quality. Yes, there are quality students that are good, but not all of them.
By the way, at that very extent, I'm giving up a scampation of 1,000 to everyone who gives me a best student from every district that is coming from a UPE or a youth school. It is very obscure. It is an obscrutinization. Thank you very much to everyone. Mr. Moses, you are still supplementing on the way forward. So I give you 1 minute.
So in these UPE institutions, we applaud them and we thank them for really putting up such an initiative. Let the quality be improved.
Thank you.
Also, as we are in the COVID times, the new technology that has come up is the online study. Yes, it cannot be adapted to at an instant moment. It's a gradual process. Let us try to liaise to that. Let us try to put that into the system. And lastly, he spoke about the curriculum. We can never put up a curriculum that has not yet been implemented onto those that are going to enforce it onto the students.
True.
Way back, we used to have the Shimon Demonstrative. The Shimon Demonstrative was an institution where teaching colleges, as a curriculum was passed by the government, they used to pass it to the Shimon Demonstrative.
They discuss it.
And teachers, it was reviewed and told to the teachers that are going to implement it. And later, there was a Shimon school where this curriculum was tested into the students. And it was to see whether it would really be into play if it's put out into the public. But however, that school was demolished and it's now being revamped and it's being put up in Kira. So let the teachers be educated about the new curriculum. Let it not be a surprise attack. for all of them as well as the students. Let it be taught to them. And by the time they come out to teach the students, they also feel comfortable. They also feel an understanding of the curriculum.
Someone was like, the opening of schools in January 2022 is merely a white lie. A lie that is told to be polite. So at this extent then, I want my guests on the set today to say hi and then send in others greetings, and then we finalize this discussion and debate. Mr. Lux, Muzaffar.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for watching the Ultra Digest Media. We just appreciate the love you're showing to us. More is coming.
Mr. Moses, in 23 seconds, say goodbye to the people.
As I said at the beginning and I say at the conclusion, I'm humbled, I'm glad to be on a panel with such enlightened gentlemen, and I'm glad to have had this discussion of national importance and hope there can be a way forward.
Thank you very much to everyone. This is the Ultra Digest Media. My name is Kelvin Mogabi. Thank you for being tuned in here at this time where we have been discussing matters of national meritus. We shall not condone to NMLstocracy. Thank you very much. We believe in excellence. This is the Ultra Digest Media. Behind camera, we're having the big men, Babi, Jeremiah, and then Joel. Those are the unsung heroes of the day. Thank you very much. The Ultra Digest Media. We'll sign out for now. Okay. We'll be back, guys.